What's up, everyone? I'm Scott,
And I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Courage. My friend, since the last time we spoke, a lot has happened. Um,
Wow.
I mean,
Has it
the,
now?
the world is ever changing and ever evolving. And when you live with a sixth grade middle schooler, you don't realize how much the world is on fire, even when the world is not on fire.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Have you now experienced some sixth grade antics that are like, holy crap? That now it's getting real. Taking care of little kids is one thing. It's hard to take care of preteens and teenagers. Totally different.
Oh man, I'll tell you what. To me, it's almost a little bit easier because you can be more blunt with them as they get older. You can tell
Oh,
them
okay.
they're gonna be dumb and they're gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
But it can be more real. It's one thing because you have to be kind of soft with the younger kids and explain to them in a very gentle way. And I feel like if you're getting to middle school and high school, you're getting a blunt dose of reality on a lot of different fronts. So I might as well be honest and blunt with you now, so you can understand it and be better prepared for what's coming.
Right. Okay. Okay.
The first school dance is quickly upon us,
Okay.
and ours wants to go, which I think is great.
Oh, okay.
I think
That's
it's
uh,
I think it's
that's that's
great.
age appropriate. Age
Um,
appropriate.
she is she is funny, and has the biggest heart in the world, and she wants to save everybody and make sure nobody is sad or alone at the dance, and that is so
Oh,
sweet.
that's sweet. That's sweet.
Very much appreciate that about her heart. Before we got on this podcast today, she was talking to me about it. She asked a boy to the dance.
Oh,
To
is
go.
that the new is that new,
Well,
in
she
today's world? Because I know when I was a kid, it was the boys, had to ask the girls,
she had
or
to.
because if the girls didn't get asked, they would have to go in a group of girls.
Well, she explained it. She goes, he was going to ask her, but they were standing there in an awkward moment, so she asked him. But it's strictly as friends, strictly as friends, because he wanted to ask his crush.
Is she the crush?
And no, she's not.
Oh, okay.
This is where I had to start guiding at this point, and
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Whew. Okay.
I said, okay, um, that's very sweet that uh, that you guys are friends, and you offered to go with him as a friend to this dance, but has he asked his crush out? And she said, no, he's too afraid. I said, okay, I get it. That is not your problem. I said, do you want to go with this boy as a friend, or do you want to go with your friends to the dance? She goes, I want to go with. I don't want anybody to be lonely at the dance. I said, okay. Well, if he wants to go, he will go one way or the other. If he wants to ask his crush, um, that's fine. If she says no, then he's on to the next one, and that's a different story. But if it's just his friends, that's up to you. You can go, but you know full well he wants to ask his crush, and that's really not fair to you. So I'd say
Oh man. So he hasn't asked the crush yet.
he's afraid
And
to.
did he say yes to her, to JoJo?
Yes, but he has to ask his mom if he can go. So
Okay.
we're still
Oh
up in the
boy.
we're still up in the air on that. So I said
Uh,
you should just plan on going with your friends. And
yeah, that's good advice.
she's very much into Stranger Things right now. She goes, well, he's a lot like Dustin from Stranger Things.
Oh
I said
gosh. Okay.
I said
Okay.
okay, I get it. Also, I said that's not your problem though. I mean, I get it. And I think it's very sweet, but he has to uh, cross those bridges and do those things on his own. You can't just save him because you're afraid he's going to be alone or not happy or sad at the dance.
Man, that's an interesting dilemma. Because yeah, you want to obviously do what you think is being kind to someone,
Hmm.
but you also kind of have to look at it as well. If he's not even comfortable enough in approaching the other person, much less her, then
Hmm.
yeah, Uh, it's probably not her place to have to save him from
Oh,
working up the courage to ask someone.
and that's what I told her. So you are only responsible for your feelings in this life. As you go, you cannot control how someone else feels or feels from your actions or their own actions. You can only worry about yourself. And when I suggest when you go to this dance, you go with your friends and you have a good time. And if you see someone that's not having a good time, invite them over, hang out with you guys. Aside from that, man, that's like any of those people. It's not your chair, not your problem. And I made her repeat, "Not my chair, not my problem." Uh,
Yeah, well, I mean,
I mean,
the hard part is that I think deep down, people who have compassion for those, others like that. I mean, we want to help people who maybe
mhm.
can't help themselves
Oh
at
yeah,
some level. But on the other side, it's we also want them to do it on their own. We want this kid to say, you know what, I'm going to ask the girl, and if she doesn't, I don't feel comfortable saying yes to you when I really want to go with someone else. If I don't have the courage to go ask, then one, I shouldn't go, or two, I should just go and just meet up with people like everyone else is.
yeah, and that's kind of what it is, man. And
Yeah.
and as we left the conversation, I said we'll talk more about it later. I said let me think about it, and she just kind of sat there at the counter. It's like, man, middle school's hard. Because I don't want to get any older. I said it doesn't get any better. It's like I wish I could tell you it gets better, but I don't think it does, kid. But
you
your
know,
heart's in the right place.
yeah, your heart is in the right place, and I think that's one of the things that I was kind of thinking about for, just in my mind. It's like, there's a lot of nice people out there, but at some point, nice people, if they're not going to get the job done, don't we have a responsibility to get rid of them? In
Absolutely.
ter- like I think about football coaches all the time. I mean, obviously ASU fired their football coach.
It was a mutual parting of ways if you read the reports, but yes, it was basically he was yeah. Um,
And for the most part, when most people talk about that coach, no one ever says, "Oh man, this guy's the biggest jerk on the planet. He's a real, grade A asshole," or anything like that. But they say, "Oh man, he's a good guy. He's a good coach to the kids. He's a motivator." But when you don't win, at what point does being good, it's not enough? Like I'd asked in the pre-show, when does the content, the character not matter and the results matter?
and that's really what it comes down to. It's characters is a forgotten piece in today's world. I think a lot of people gloss over a character because they can say what they want on the internet and not get slapped. Um, I think character goes a long way, and I think the character you develop at an early age, you can carry on both personally and professionally, and but you have to do it in a proper way at an appropriate time. You know,
They always say nice guys finish last, right?
and they do.
Nice guys finish last. And why is that? Like my friend, we were talking about politics, and he said, "Well, I don't understand. Things were going so well with Trump in the economy and everything. Why would you not vote for someone like him, but you'd vote for someone like Biden who is screwing up our inflation and blah blah blah?" And I just simply said, because my character wants and needs don't match what Trump's character is. They just don't. So I don't care if he made all of us $1 billion. His character means something to me, and it would be I would never vote for him.
Yeah,
But then again, sometimes I think, yeah, but if everyone was a millionaire because of being under his tutelage, when do I say, he doesn't have the character I want, but he gets the job done, and I should focus on that.
um, yeah, I think so too. I think that goes a long way in today's world. It's people forget about that. They just see the bottom line for
Yeah,
money and whatnot. They don't see what it takes, and like what's the dumpster fire behind the curtain that's making all the money. Yeah, it's
yeah.
great. It's the stock market's at an all-time high, but from those, they don't realize that the results that were going to come down the pipe from all those actions behind the curtains were going to cause the inflation. It was just going to be passed off to the next guy.
And I truly feel, and I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but when he says now, if I walked down Fifth Avenue and shot someone, I wouldn't lose any votes, I totally believe it.
Yeah,
He could commit murder and no one would care. None
yeah,
of his supporters would care. Sorry. None of his supporters would care, which is like sad. Like, so character means absolutely nothing to you. It's all about questionable results. I wouldn't even argue that he had proven results. They were questionable.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say that his actions are what caused the stock market to go up, or his actions, caused bad things to happen either. I mean, a lot of it just might have been the timing of, when he started to when things happened.
Yeah. I mean, that's really what it is. It's all about timing, right place, right time,
Yeah. But I wonder, like, there's a head coach for the Detroit Lions,
Oh, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
Man, he's got
And everyone who says anything about Dan Campbell says he's a great coach. The players love playing for him. He's all heart, all good. Yet you don't win, dude. So if you don't win, then how good of a coach? At what point do we say, yeah, he's a great guy, he's a really nice guy, but he's not winning. We need to get a winner in there.
Well, he's not winning yet, but I think that tide's starting to turn.
Possibly. So how long do you give character over results?
Well, that's what it is. I think. Well, and we'll use Detroit as a perfect example, and because they were on Hard Knocks this past summer. You kind of got a more behind the scene look at them.
Right.
I think you have to give someone the proper amount of time to put the right pieces in place to make sure their plan works. If their character's good and they have the right plan, and you as the organization that hired them don't give them the time and the resources to execute that plan,
yeah,
that individual is not failing you. You are failing them.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm a fan of Dan Campbell. I watched that first episode of Hard Knocks and thought, you know what, this guy's cool. Like he's not afraid. He gets in there, and I can see why players bought into him.
Yeah,
and it takes time. You got to put those pieces in place, and
yeah.
You're starting to see the improvement with him. But I think it also, I think with him, watching him make the cuts at the end of the season, players were thanking him for the opportunity and saying, "What a great organization! If there's an opportunity to come back, I would love to come back."
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I mean,
that's pretty cool.
That is the Lions are historically a dumpster fire,
right?
And for him, those players, as they're getting cut, to want to hug and shake the hands of the head coach and the GM and saying thank you for what you're doing here, that says a lot.
Yeah. Well, and let's be honest. And then go on the other side. There have been great sport people. There have been great business leaders who, they were great and they got results from business or sports, but they did it in a low character way, whether it was cheating, whether it was, ruthlessness toward other people. So, no compassion for any other human being except themselves. The results were fantastic.
Yeah.
Like Barry Bonds, perfect example. Barry Bonds, he holds the record for most home runs. But there's always going to be a taint. There's always going to be an asterisk to that because he used steroids to do it. And while that was not necessarily all of it, it definitely probably helped with the numbers. And it takes away from people like, Albert Pujols, Ken Griffey Jr., who had similar careers but didn't have to take the steroids to get there.
No, I mean, and that's true. And taking those shortcuts, it catches up to them eventually, especially in baseball. And those players from the steroid era, and then those are guys I grew up with. You talking about Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Alex Rodriguez, Roger Clemens.
So did I. Yeah.
All guys that should be first ballot Hall of Famers will never sniff the Hall of Fame because of this.
Because of cheating.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, but that's fair. That's what they knew that was always going to be a chance when they were doing what they did. They did that consciously. They didn't do that by accident.
And maybe it's just in today's world, it seems blurred. It seems blurred to me that we as a society can sometimes emulate, in my opinion, bad character people because they get things done.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like anyone who wins a game, but you find out they cheated. Well, yeah, they won. Okay, but they cheated. They didn't play by the rules that everyone else plays. So why do we put them on tie as some great achiever of success when they cheated?
It's a results-driven world now. That's the world we live in. Everything is results-driven. If you can't get the results, we don't want you. So those people who are willing to do what it takes to get the results are the ones that look like they're winning right now. And it usually takes some time for their character to show through. And that's where they go from organization to organization, because eventually character does win out. And when people figure out that you're full of shit, you get got.
Yeah, and maybe that's even part of it too, is that there have been plenty of examples of people who did unscrupulous things to become successful, and then when they got caught, they got a slap on the wrist,
Yeah.
or they didn't get. I mean, they got didn't get punished. I mean, the Houston Astros were caught cheating during the World Series. They didn't lose their championship banner.
Yeah.
The owner had to pay a $10 million. So in that situation, yeah, bad character got caught. It got caught up with them, but it didn't change anything. They
Yeah.
didn't get they didn't get a true punishment of bad character. So it says, well, hey, look, you can be bad character in the future. Who cares? It's not going to really result in any sort of major punishment.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what they're dealing with right now. It's does the punishment match the crime?
Right.
And what, if you're always established, as a liar or a cheater, how, does that follow you the rest of your career, or is it a slap on the wrist and go? And we're seeing that right now with the Phoenix Suns and
Oh yeah, there you go.
and their owner Robert Sarver. I mean, he had a lot of allegations against him, and he's been basically banned for a year and given a massive fine. And there's a lot of people coming up, and even the minority owners saying that's not good enough. Either you get rid of them, or PayPal won't renew their licensing agreement with them, and other key people will leave the organization, and that's quite a bit. That's holding feet to the fire, and I think a lot more businesses need to do that.
And there's a perfect example, because let's say that peer pressure comes in and he's forced to sell.
Yeah,
He still quadrupled his investment, so he's going to walk away with $3-4 billion.
yeah,
Is that a punishment
no,
for mistreating your employees and being raised? Alleged? Well, no, I guess no allegedly anymore. He got proven that he was, sexual harassment and racial harassment work environment. Yet the punishment to him is, yeah, you have to sell your asset that you bought for 800 million 15 years ago. You're gonna have to sell it for 2 or 3 or 4 billion.
yeah, right,
Oh, what a punishment!
yeah, oh.
You
And then the guy who used to run Disney owns our team, and we write off happily ever after. And every basketball team in the Disney world is now named the Suns.
know, and maybe that's the thing, is that we always want justice, right? When someone
Yeah,
does something bad, we thirst for justice. We want their comeuppance. We want them to get what they deserve, and very rarely does it happen.
yeah,
Very rarely does it happen. Even if you look at not big cases like that, but small cases, someone murders someone, right?
mm-hmm.
And they get caught and they get to live the rest of their life in prison. Even the family, it doesn't get justice. They don't
Yeah.
get justice, because what is justice but an equaling of accounts? You did something bad character,
It's an eye for an eye.
and it's an eye for an eye kind of thing, right? And so, I look at Robert Sarver as a perfect example of, there's no punishment that
Yeah,
he's going to get, and that's okay though. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily have to, you know, maybe the disgrace of having to sell the team is enough, but he's still going to walk away a multi-billionaire.
yeah. I mean, he's still gonna be okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's not losing anything. Plus, he owns the Phoenix Mercury, so he's probably going to get 4 to 5 billion if he has to walk away from it all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not a bad investment.
No, banned from the league, but what's the matter? He's
Yeah,
got money. He's got generational wealth at that point.
yeah, exactly. So, is it really a punishment?
No.
And then you look at other people like whistleblowers.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who finds out that their company is doing something illegal, and they become a whistleblower, and they get destroyed. The lawyers from the other side destroy the whistleblower, and they can never work in the industry again, and they have harassment against them. They did the right thing. They're doing the right thing. They're trying to tell people, hey, something bad's happening, and yet they get destroyed, and the bad
But
company who's doing the bad things doesn't.
just to play devil's advocate, you're only calling them the good guys in the story. There's a version of those stories where the people that or the whistleblowers are the ones they're the bad guys in the story, you know?
Like, explain. Like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, there's two sides to every story.
Okay.
There's different points of view. Just because you think the whistleblower is doing the right thing, uh, there's a sect of people that are out there that are profiting off of whatever event the whistleblower is blowing his whistle on. So that whistleblower is going to be a bad guy to a certain sect of people because he's stopping the money train. He's stopping. They don't see anything wrong with what they're doing if they're doing it and getting away with it.
So you're saying that the idea of right and wrong is a subjective thing. There is no absolute right or an absolute wrong.
Exactly.
Wow.
I mean,
Okay.
morally, we can agree that certain things are right and wrong, but how I can't make you see or feel what I see or feel, and vice versa. I can only hope that you match those emotions and feelings on those subjects, but there's no guarantee, you know.
And so maybe that's the part that I'm missing, is that because it's a subjective opinion of what is right and what is wrong, I might be wrong to say that that person is doing the right thing, you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So if I know that a company is poisoning the water supply to the apartments that are in a building, and
Mm-hmm.
I say something, I could be doing the wrong thing by saying something.
Wrong thing to the people that are making money off of the poison water into the building. You know, I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
saying,
well, no, I mean, I think that's exactly what you're saying, is that
yeah,
for some people, doing the wrong thing is right. That's
yeah.
good. That's a moral good.
Well, for some people, what you consider the wrong thing is they consider the right thing.
And I would say then shooting someone is not a moral wrong thing.
Well, it depends on
Killing somebody.
it depends on the situation, you know, and that is why where we're at this world.
And maybe that's a problem. There should not be a subjective absolute truth. There should not be a subjective this is right and this is wrong.
Well,
Lying is lying. Is that an absolute? Should be. But no, people lie all the time and think that they're doing the right thing. I don't want to tell my girlfriend that her dress doesn't look that nice, so I'll just lie and say it does. See,
well,
I'm doing a good thing, right?
there's context to everything. I
No,
think
no, that's what I'm asking. Is there an absolute truth?
I don't
Is
think
there something that's absolute?
no, there's not. There's no
Thou
absolute.
shalt not steal can't be absolute, because if I'm starving,
Mm-hmm. You got
then
if your
I
family,
steal from my family, then it's okay to do it.
yeah, it's a mother effer of the situation.
Well, I mean, I think that's why I guess it doesn't really matter if someone has a high character but they're not performing, then get rid of them.
I mean, it all depends what's up the ladder. You know, who's ever views above you, uh, if they don't matter to that person, then yeah, you keep doing what you're doing. But if they don't have the same views or view you doing the same job as well as you have been doing, or think you could be doing, then yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then it shouldn't surprise us that people love Trump, because he's not doing anything wrong.
In their minds, he's not.
But but that's just it. That's an opinion, right?
I
Then
would.
you can say that about anything. Then
I
then why do we have burglary laws? If I'm stealing your goods, hey, I'm not committing a crime. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm just redistributing goods that you have sitting in your safe for anybody. I'm just going to reallocate them to other people. I'm not doing anything wrong.
well, I think that's an extreme.
No, that's exactly what I'm getting at. You say it's an extreme, but we just said it. To kill is wrong unless I'm defending myself from being injured by someone else.
That's different from the robbery scenario.
How?
Killing
We
someone.
just said if I'm starving and I need food and I go in your house and I steal your food, that's okay.
No, you said break into someone's safe and
What is it?
distribute their wealth.
What's the difference? I'm in your house. I'm in your property.
Oh, I get that, but if someone comes into my property to steal my stuff, then that's at their own risk, and what happens to them because you have a stand your ground rule in this state.
Right. So you're saying that thieving is wrong. That's an absolute.
To me,
Thieving is wrong.
To me, it's wrong. To some people that don't know any better, they don't see it as wrong.
I guess it also depends on if someone's robbing you or if you're doing the robbing.
That's really what it comes down to. It's points of view.
So, and I was talking to someone recently, and we were talking about marijuana, and I said, I find it so interesting that 5, 6 years ago, the thought of marijuana was a crime and horrible. We got to, have law enforcement, out there to stop this. It's terrible. And now that it's legal in Arizona, no one cares.
Yeah, it's really what it is. No one does care. I mean,
So was it ever wrong to begin with, right?
yeah.
Was it ever wrong to begin with?
And I think you'll find that most people that had to enforce the laws would say, realistically, no, it's not. But that's what the law says. That's what we have to do.
Right. And who creates laws but people who
And,
have opinions about what we should be doing or what we shouldn't be doing, which means that anyone who wants to pass a law for, I don't know, anything that's going on right now in the legal world should be okay because it's just a subjective opinion. Absolute right or wrong is debatable.
well, the thing, and this is where we'll end this conversation. I'll end it with this note. Um, that's I guess one of the beauties of our legal system, for as flawed as it is. If we don't like the laws that are put into place now, if we're able to vote the proper people in that we are aligned with politically, those laws will be reversed and they will go back and forth like a tennis volley for generations.
Yeah, and we're also learning even in that once a law hits the books, the ability to take away that law,
It's hard.
it's hard. It's hard. So once you get that law in place, the
Well,
reversal of that law
I
usually takes an event
I don't think
that's
that's true, and I think the Supreme Court, to their own ignorance, has proven or set themselves up to have a lot of things reversed because of their opinions. So I don't think it's nearly as hard as people thought it was going to be. I think
well,
that,
I guess the only thing I would say is it took 50 years for it to happen.
yeah,
I mean, anti-abortionists have been trying to get that law taken away for 50 years. It took 50 years for them to right or wrong. Ooh, that was a good way to end the program, right? Right or wrong.
there we go.
But you know what I mean? Like that. So it does take a long time. Think about this. They've been trying to get rid of Obamacare for what, 12 years?
Something like that.
Something like that. And they've had votes. They've had the votes to be able to do it and couldn't get it done. So yeah, it's probably pretty tough to
Well,
change the what's right and what's wrong.
here's the other side of that too. It's something to just think about. I mean, a lot of people have won elections because they're going to go in there and they're going to change these things that never get changed. Because
Yeah.
once they change those things that they say they're going to change, then they have no other leg to stand on. Now,
Well, and
now
it was that easy.
Yeah.
Wiser people than us would have done this years ago
Exactly.
if it was that easy. Yeah.
It's all marketing. It's all
Yeah. Well, and something that can get people's emotions up about, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
something that gets people's emotions about up, and some people are really good at stirring the pot, so to speak, to get people's emotions up, even if it's not necessarily true.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
it. It's just asking the right question at the right time,
that's right.
or proposing the right theory at the right time.
Well, all I can say, Scott, is I'm glad that you're a good person, and even though our performance numbers may not be perfect, our character is sure high enough that we can continue to record Liquid Courage, buddy.
Absolutely, baby. And that also goes because we're also the executive producers of the show who pay the money to do this content, make the time for this content. So,
That is true. So yeah, suck it, Trebek. Yeah, right.
yeah. Nobody else wants to do this with us, so here we are. Yeah, I will tell a quick story before we start ending the show. The EP flew down on Sunday, and we had a family day going to the Arizona Cardinals at the Las Vegas Raiders up at Allegiant Stadium, and I had some revelations about the Raiders in general and the new Las Vegas Raider fans. Nothing bad, but you've watched Cobra Kai on Netflix.
Yes.
And to me, I really feel like the Raiders represent Johnny Lawrence in such a great way. His
The Raiders
character.
represent Johnny Lawrence.
They are
Oh,
because
that's awesome.
they are. Johnny in that series is still stuck in 1984.
Yes, he is.
He
is
a 50-year-old man that is still stuck on the past.
Yeah,
And
he is. And
is
he
a show-
plays it so good.
and
He
this
plays
is a
it
show-
so good.
It is, and this is a show about him evolving. The Raiders are trying to do that. They're trying to evolve. They're trying to get to that next level. But I just so get reminded of Johnny Lawrence in Cobra Kai when I look at that organization as a whole, because they've got so much good going for them. They're just not quite there yet.
Okay.
But good things will happen because they are trending in the right direction. But it's funny though. My brother's always terrified to go to a Raider game. He'll never admit it, but I mean, he will admit it. He thinks you're going to get stabbed because the old perception when you go to Oakland, if you were not wearing silver and black, they're going to stab you.
Right.
We found out firsthand on Sunday that Raider fans from Las Vegas are definitely the Raider fans until it's time to cover the point spread of the money line.
They got a little bit of gambler streak in them.
Exactly. And once it's time to cover that, it's hey man, if we win, that's cool, but they got to hit these numbers. And if they don't, oh well, I want some money.
Oh, that's funny.
It's a new age in the NFL. I just thought that was funny, like how the mighty have fallen.
That's right.
How the mighty have fallen. So, as we wrap up today's show, if you have if you've come across a dilemma of middle school drama that you've had to help out with, or just some dilemmas in life in general that you want to talk about, that you've had to choose character over performance, we want to hear about it. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Carnage. If you have any fall weekend activities up in the Denver metro area that you can send our EP, he's always looking for new fun things to do. Hit him up on Twitter and Instagram at liquid_EP.
Oh, that was awesome. That was really good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the game. That's fun.
Yeah, it was a long day. I'm exhausted. I can't wait to go to bed. And it's only 4:00 in the afternoon. Almost 5, yeah.
Well, everyone, we appreciate you guys as always. Thanks for listening. That was Scott. I'm Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Carnage.